He was the worst person I've ever known in my entire life.
My father was very good at breaking people's spirits and holding them down. And he did that to all of us, including my mother.
He just wasn't always a good person. He was very controlling, very, he played games with you just to, make sure you were still in your place.
I was always on the road with kids, going from city to city and things like that. I was trapped in small hotel rooms with a crazy person.
My brother and me slept on the couch. We didn't even have our own bedroom. I mean, I was making
God knows how much money, and I didn't have a bed. I didn't even have a room. I don't want to talk about how big his bed was or how big his television was or anything like that. It was more to prove a point, I think.
What felt worse for me was when I woke up and I didn't feel anything at all. That's the thing that hurts the most, really, because you don't care anymore. Like, that's the scary stuff.
I took the brunt of it. Every time my father wasn't around, just the weight would come off. And so I know that that's what was happening at home. And I was the one kind of taking the brunt of it. What I always say about me is better me than someone else.
Your father was described as the father from hell.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
I was experiencing some major burnout. I was doing 2 films a year,
And just kind of pumping them out. And I was just at this point where I really wanted to take a break.
So I remember I went up to my father and I asked him, I said, I think I need some time off. I'm really, really exhausted. And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. And the next thing I knew, I was on the next set, doing the next thing. And
I didn't really feel like anyone was listening to me.
Especially after that, I really turned myself off.
And then it became more and more of a chore. It became more and more of a merry-go-round,
Was there some point in your life where you went, hey, wait a minute, I think my dad's going too far here? That's got to be the most confusing time in the world.
I think it was just a way of him wanting to break my spirit. He wanted me to know and my brother to know that he was in charge.
I was going crazy by that point. I knew it was going to, if I just kept on doing it, I'd go nuts.
I was always tired. I just remember always feeling tired, and it became less and less fun over the years, like kind of thing.
And then you kind of stopped when you were, 14?
Yeah, about 13, 14. Yeah,
you
took about a decade off. When I became of a certain age, when I turned 14, pretty much, and my father was out of the picture, I started just grabbing the reins and kind of going, yep, no, we're done. I hope you all made your money because there's no more coming from me. I'm going to go to high school. See you guys later. I knew that what I was doing was different than other kids. For me, I didn't know how weird my life was until I got older and got away from it a little bit.
I remember I was just a normal kid in the neighborhood, and it came out, and within a week or two, all those kids in the neighborhood that I used to hang out with were peering in my window and trying to catch a glimpse of me and stuff like that, and it just all hit very fast. I tried to fight it for a long, long time, and I've tried locking myself, not leaving, my apartment, and but that's not healthy. For a couple of years, I did that.
Really?
How often do you think about death in general?
Not that much. I have a sense of my own mortality now that I have kids. Now, before I really didn't care if I lived or died. Now I want to live forever.
Literally, I was hoping to disappear off the face of the earth.
How are you going to disappear?
I don't know, I figured that people would forget about me. And if I just locked myself in a room for long enough and, grew up, I figured people would just forget about that kid.
What I wanted is to be with people my own age. Yeah. You have to remember a lot of the stuff that I did when I was a kid. I was not working with people like my own age. I was always working with adults. And people would always say, oh, that's Mac. He's like 11 going on 40. And I'm like, can I just be 11 going on 12? That's kind of really what I wanted. I just remember I was very starved for for peers. You watch Home Alone, or I'll watch it with my kids. So I go, oh my gosh, I'm in Castaway. Except he had a volleyball to talk to. They're like, oh, what was it like working with Joe Pesci? I'm like, have you seen the movie? We do maybe 2 scenes together. There's that going on over here. And then just me by myself in a house, almost home alone. I wanted to go out and I wanted to date girls and I wanted to hang out with people my own age. I wanted to go to a party. I wanted to do those kind of things.
I understood that he was trying to do everything in the interest of his family, trying to secure a financial future and a career, I guess, for his 8-year-old, 10-year-old kid or whatever. I could understand that, but at the same time, I think, I don't think he knew how many bridges he was burning at the same time.
I went off somewhere for the weekend, and I didn't tell him. He got he got angry with me, and gave me a nice swipe across the cheek. I just went down, and then he told me to get up. I said, and I looked at him, I was like, I'm not gonna fight you, because I knew that's what he wanted me to do. He gave me another one. My brother had walked into the apartment or something like that, and I just said, F you, I'm gonna, and I closed my door, locked it, called the cops on him. That I just wanted him to know that I wasn't going to let him get away with those kind of things anymore.
Yeah, and one day he just
He upped and left.
Just disappeared.
Yeah.
No note, no goodbye, no explanation.
That's exactly what he did.
That was kind of a part of me being able to take a step back, was the fact that he wasn't there anymore. And so
By your decision?
No, not necessarily. Actually, it was my mom's decision, really. And it was really it was great to see her really kind of empower herself and say, you know, get the heck out of here. Because you know what?
Was he overbearing?
He was overbearing. The thing is, the funny thing about him is that when, you know, people ask me about him and things like that, is that, you know, he was always the way he was. I mean, before money, before fame, before anything like that.
Were you the type that tried to protect your brothers from that abuse? Because I know sometimes you find yourselves going, hey, every man for himself right now, we just got to survive.
Yes, of course. I'm protective of my family, my siblings, especially back then.
I remember I got a call from my lawyer one day.
He called me up and he said, oh, hey, Mac, you there? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. And he goes, oh, so you're still alive? And I go, yeah, I'm still alive. Why? He's like, well, CNN just called me and they got an unconfirmed report of you dying of a drug overdose. And I go, oh.
No, I'm still here, but thanks a lot, you know, thanks for calling, you know, talk to you tomorrow. Everything, you know, everything that I do, for some reason, becomes this big crazy thing, you know, even though any normal person does it. Like, yeah, I'm a kid, I had a beer, you know, I smoked a joint, big deal. You know what I'm saying? And it's not something I make a thing out of or anything like that.
One of the things I've been learning is, you know, because, you know, kind of those kind of things leave a mark, is that I'm the kind of person who doesn't have to take my lumps. With my kids, it's, a lot from me is I don't want the sins of my father being passed on to my children.
I really needed this time off. I really needed to take my time, take a deep breath, take a step back, kind of realize everything that happened. I'm trying to be the best person I can be. And that's what I've realized, how in the scheme of things, in the scheme of life, you know, in the very, very end, you're not a press statement, you're not a film, you are not your career. I have my family, I have my friends, I have basically everything I need in life right now.
Well, I haven't spoken to him in 30-something years. Oh, he deserves it too. You know, he's a man who he had 7 kids, and now he has 4 grandkids, and none of them want anything to do with him.
After a while, you actually come up with the vocabulary, you know, the actual vocabulary, the emotional vocabulary to figure out, you know, how this all shook out. You'd be remiss if you didn't, like, self-reflect, you know?
I remember him sitting on the phone screaming his head off at God knows who. And I mean, that was a daily thing. And it was just the way my father was, so I just kind of accepted it. I mean, you have to remember that I was only 9, 10, 11, 12. I had no control over it. He was the same way on the phone with these people in Los Angeles as he was with me and the rest of my family. It's very weird, because I know whatever I say about him, he's going to try to contradict everything I say. But you know, yes, he was very hard on me. He would deny me certain things in my life that I enjoyed. Like if he felt I wasn't trying hard enough or something like that, he wouldn't let me play basketball, even though I liked doing it.